Friday, everyone. We are so glad you were able to join us for Live with Dan, but it's a lady takeover today. Oh, I think I have lipstick on my teeth though. And we are just so excited to be here, kind of recapping Live with Dan from a totally different perspective, because I'm not going to lie, Artie and I probably don't watch every episode.
Yes, we do. We watch everyone. What are you talking about?
Today I'm joined by the wonderful president and chief healthcare officer of Question Pro, Artie Betty Pullins.
Hi, thanks for having me. I know it's Dan with Live, but today it's just going Artie Live. The girls Live. I love it. So
I know.
Happy December 15th.
I know we're halfway through December. The first day of winter is next week too, which is pretty exciting. Artie, you're up in Chicago.
I am.
Which means you're probably having a very different weather day than I am.
Yes. Actually, it's sunny. I'm looking at the window. You see a little bit of there. It's sunny. So I need some to energize me. I'm not going to. It's cold.
So, see, I have the opposite. I have gray skies, but it's warm.
I'd rather have the sun.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you that. And I have my little candy cane necklace today for the holidays.
That's cute. Well, I have Christmas. It's on Christmas Eve. And then you probably can't see, but I have like Christmas trees in the back. So we are very festive. But you know what? Now that we're in December, I'm kicking the snow. I'm ready for it. Anybody watching us or joining us from the snowy states, I'm kind of ready. That puts me in the Christmas holiday spirit.
Ooh, yeah, for sure. And if you guys are curious about holiday spending, please make sure to join me and our head of audience and sampling next week. Tim Cornelius and I will be talking all about millennial holiday spending trends. And millennial is not a derogatory word anymore. We are like 35 people. We are old. So we have a lot of the buying power this holiday season, and we will be talking about the trends of that spending next Wednesday, December 20th. So make sure you join us for that.
Yay!
Yeah. Well, let's get to it. We're here to recap Live with Dan 2023. I cannot believe that Live with Dan has been going for 3 years after something that I kind of tricked Dan into doing.
I love it.
And he even, where was he? He was somewhere where, Artie, your audio's echoey.
Do that. I will figure it out.
And so, let's see what's happening here. Try now. Oh, now.
How about now?
Is that better? So I was like, it went bad there for a second, and now we're back. So, we definitely are just really happy to have Artie here to help to recap this with us. And if you guys have a favorite episode, let us know in the comments. I know that we did 2 episodes that I was on this season that I really loved were the Super Bowl episode where we talked about Super Bowl ads. And then we did a whole episode on Taylor Swift. So,
Swiftie.
Oh yeah, that didn't echo. So hopefully that'll be good. Well, let's just jump right into it. And I'm using Canva to present everyone. So this is like a first time for everything. So let's see how it goes.
When you said that, you think Chat GPT will have a bigger impact on how we gather and analyze consumer data in 2023 than the internet did from 1996 to 2006. That's a big statement. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I can't wait for my fellow panelists to disagree with me on this point. But having built careers all around, really that time period. But you think about the advantage that the internet provided consumer insights professionals, that was really just predominantly around speed. I mean, you could argue price maybe, but I really think it's the biggest benefit has been around speed and accessibility, but predominantly speed. And so, it used to be the case that we had to intercept people in malls in order to get them to complete a survey. And now we intercept them in their inboxes to functionally get the exact same thing done. And certainly in the time period that you referenced, early 2000s, surveys, online surveys, very much just were copy and pastes from whether they're phone interviews or mall intercepts. So there really wasn't anything unique about it except for the format of the place it was being done. And so
someone muted me. So that episode was when Jam in Brazil, Lenny, and Vivek and Dan were all talking about the future of AI in market research. And, we like to say, was Jammin right? Did AI really take off, and did it keep making change? Artie, you've been on the forefront of these sales conversations and in our kind of thought leadership when it comes to that. Do you think the guys were right in their prediction?
100%. Yes. I think they were. You can see the data here as well. Every conversation we have with a customer or thought leaders or people in the industry. Actually, ironically, today's the 15th Friday. Yesterday, Wednesday, the 13th, we actually hosted a happy hour in New York, and with customers, same conversation. And now we're in December. This conversation started in November of 22. It has really, I don't want to say disrupted life, but enhanced. I'm a believer and I'm a fan and I'm a geek of AI. Jamin knows that about me. I presented that in the beginning of this year as well. So I agree. Yes.
I love that. I think actually the echo is me on my computer.
Problem.
I know. I know. I can't leave my house and take me anywhere. But I really do think that it is something that you said is it was a trend that people weren't necessarily ready for. But I always say there's I have this little notebook that is where I talk about the ABCs, and this is what I learned a lot when I was working in blockchain was you have to have an advocate, and then you have to have buy-in, and then you have to have a catalyst. And that really, we had an advocate of people loving AI. We got buy-in from the industry because professionals found it useful, and then the catalyst was when people just discovered how quick it was to work.
100%. And I think there is, in your journey that you just laid out, I think in anything new, especially on the tech side of the world, there's always this fear. What's going to happen? How is this going to take over my life? How's this going to take over my job? I think that second part still exists. And how is it going to manipulate the truth? I think that third fear still exists.
Mm-hmm.
And as we go into the new year and following years, this genie's not going back in the box by any means. It is just going to continually get tweaked, enhanced, and we can all be efficient. We can all be more productive. We can all be more operationally efficient and make more time in the day, in the weeks, and the months, and do our jobs better, whether it's on the research side, whether it's on the data collection side, or whether it's on the data analysis side. So that's the exciting part, at least in my crazy brain.
The other day, I was at home for Thanksgiving, and my mom was so proud of herself. She's like, I used Chat GPT to write my Facebook post about how thankful I was for Thanksgiving.
That's amazing.
Right, my mom's 71.
I love it. That's amazing, right? It's little things. I think that's the key here that Jamin and Vivek were talking about in the beginning of the year, this ease of use. And Jamin made a really smart point, right? The old school, hey, let me take this little clipboard and piece of paper and get your data on how you feel, how you look at the product, or how you want some competitive information, or how your employees feel. And AI, machine learning, language models, these are just going to help us collect better data, analyze better data, get to know our customers, research, product, employees better, and just help us write Facebook posts better or LinkedIn. I do have to say, sometimes I use AI technology to help me write my LinkedIn posts. Just makes me more efficient.
It makes you more efficient, but you've got to make sure you don't use the word. Me and the girls on the social media team, we know the like the triggers. It's the word delve, and it's an overuse of emojis.
Yes. Oh my God, the emoji, the rocket emoji.
The rocket ship emoji, very specifically.
Every time I see a rocket ship emoji on anything, I'm like, you didn't write that.
Okay, let's keep going with the next conversation.
And the reason why is because, we've seen massive productivity gains through digitization of research, and getting to Vivek's point and pushing, disagreeing with me. And that's absolutely true. And yet, we still see the same proportion of time spent on those specific job functions in job. And so I think in a lot of ways, it's just like, if you think about an insights professional as being a cog, we all have different cog. We all are different cogs in this machine of insights. And I just feel like the cog gets bigger as our expertise expands. To your point, though, I think it does create a lot of potential disruption in the job market for people that are not potentially, that are currently doing that thing, whether it's summarizing or first pass. I've launched 3 studies and 2 focus independent qualitative projects in the last week. And I've used Chat GPT as the creation of the discussion guides, initial discussion guides, and surveys. And it has been fantastic in all cases. And it's not the totality of it, but it probably saves me 80% of my time.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's a good point. I think just because of you don't have to think about it. It gives you what you need, and then you can always add to it. I think, Viv, you're
Oh, so sorry about being muted there. At the beginning, they were just talking about how much they curse. So
probably good to be muted. That was probably
I didn't mean to censor the guys. But it really did. Jamin brings up a great point of hey, you could write your survey so quickly. You can also build discussion guides very quickly. And we were, they had this conversation back in January about AI. And so I know that, for Question Pro specifically, we were so fast to market with QXBot, and it is so handy. I don't know who likes to write a survey. I'm not going to lie to you.
I agree with you. I think this has, for us, our customers whether you're on the research side, CX side, or on the employee listening, employee experience side, this has really changed the game in efficiency, and to the point that Jamin was making, right? Like, if it can help us, give us a boost, give us a start, and help us kind of formulate our thoughts, not only the question, but I always have a hard time with the answers, right? Because I think as a writer or a creator of a data collection survey or questionnaire, whatever you want to call it, sometimes you have your own bias on what the answers should be, or what it's almost like, like leading your survey taker. So this has been really, really helpful and really innovative in my mind.
Yeah. Even what I did a couple times this year was the way I used Chat GPT, which I assumed other people did too, until I started telling people how I used it, was I would copy and paste content, let's say an article, And then I would plug that into Chat GPT and say, write a survey about this article. And so I would give it the data to use back. I didn't ask it for data, is how I used it.
Yeah. It just made you more efficient and optimized your time better and gave you some ideation back. And I think that here's the fear as well as the advantages of this, right? Fear of Chat GPT, it's public. Everybody can see it. It's feeding the brain externally. Beauty of this and what our incredible engineering and product team created really quickly on the fly was we're not sharing this with the world. This is for your own instance and making you efficient for yourself and for your own research that you're conducting, which was really helpful, extremely helpful to our customer base.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So AI good. And let's see, I didn't put this deck together, so I don't really know what the next segment's about. I only know that there's like AI and then there's like one about Doritos at some point.
Ooh, you're gonna make me hungry. Let's see what's next. Are we eating? What are we doing?
And they're air pop, not fried.
Popcorners. You're an artist.
Actually, Jesse, it's just ingredients. No, we don't eat our own supply.
Mr. White.
Jesse,
Everyone's gonna want to taste. And I know just the guy to talk to.
what are these?
We call them popcorners.
Say their name.
Oh.
Popcorners. Take! Yeah! How much of this stuff do you have?
We've got 6 signature flavors, John.
7! You make 7!
7.
7 works. Popcorners. Break into something
Oh,
good.
they're owned by Frito-Lay.
We're gonna eat a lot of snacks together.
Oh my God, I love it. I love the commercial. I love, obviously, Breaking Bad. It was a great show. People, you haven't watched it.
Great. Well,
And they're air pop, not fried.
Popcorners.
I'm sorry.
You're an artist.
I don't understand.
Actually,
I'm sure we can obviously dive more into that, but today I want to talk to you more about, Chat GPT. I was telling you before we came on that when we first did a show.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, you guys. So there's like a video inside videos and Canva is confusing. I love Canva, but this is a little hard. So on that last clip, it was our February episode. We were talking about all the Super Bowl commercials, and they came out with those popcorners that are triangles. And we had a very large discussion on if a kid saw a triangle, would they recognize it as a Dorito or as a triangle? And no kid is going to go, "Ooh, that's a popcorn."
True.
And so we were talking a lot about just, marketing and market research. And I think at one point what I said was like, what market research firm decided to call these popcorners? It wasn't very kind.
Hopefully they're not watching.
Yeah. But, in the world of market research, so many times I think also researchers get to define the names of things. We do product research, we do user research, but at the end of the day, they calculate all that data and then give recommendations. And this study shows, or this instant answer shows that, do you think children are more likely to recognize a Dorito or a triangle? And 60% said a Dorito.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And, think about it from a parent perspective. I have 2 boys. Of course, they know what a Dorito is. They love it, right? Like the more the merrier, especially around Super Bowl time when you're having Super Bowl parties. But here's the fun part. This product is healthier for my kids. I'm not pitching the product, but I'm just saying as a mom. So, man, it's a double win for me from a research standpoint, right? As a buyer of this product, I'm sure they did some research to say, healthy, good for you, good snacking. Mom and dad are buying, and the kids got to eat this stuff. So, right, this is all exciting. I'm totally with you, Crystal. You and I are data geeks. We say, hey, how can we make research sexy? And yep, I just said that word. I'm like, happening. But this is fun. This is exciting stuff on how research and data can be used to make real life product decisions.
Yep. And so next time you're thinking about being like, oh, hey, will you go get me that? I don't know what triangle shaped things are. Just be like, can you give me that Dorito shaped thing?
Right?
Everybody's going to know. So a lot of times we follow very similar patterns when it comes to Live with Dan. Like, I think we've done a Super Bowl episode every year, and we definitely will do another one this year. And Matt Seltzer, shout out to him. He's a great guest. And we love talking about Super Bowl commercials. I had so many notes on that last one too. I literally watched commercials and took notes on them.
I mean, I love football, but I tell you, man, we have people over for Super Bowl every year. And my last name is Pullins, so all of our friends know the Pullins family always hosts for Super Bowl. Everybody's talking during the game time, and the minute a commercial comes up, it's like pin drop silence because everybody wants to watch the commercial.
They're just that good.
I love it.
Okay, here we go. Next, I'm going to see if I can figure out how this thing works.
Awesome. Great. Well, I'm sure we can obviously dive more into that, but today I want to talk to you more about, Chat GPT. I was telling you before we came on that when we first did a show back in January, Chat GPT was relatively new, but you came and said, look, Dan, hey, take a look at all this stuff we already have. So you were truly early adopters in the space. So I think that's amazing. One thing I wanted to talk to you about is kind of around, Chat GPT versus GPT-4 versus 3.5. What are the differences and how do you look at it?
Yeah, the way I look at it is the base model, so 3.5, the thing that we were playing with in January or December, and we wrote our whole book based on that. And so it's already transformative to how we do insights, already game changing for almost everything we do. And 4 came along a few months later, and it's much better at a whole bunch of exams in the real world, much better at a whole bunch of sophisticated real world tasks. It's clearer and more creative. That's brilliant. But my advice to people is don't worry about the model. The base model for Chat GPT is more than good enough to change your life. And then new models are going to come on all the time.
The base model is good enough to change my life. That's pretty amazing, right? Considering where it can go, right? So the base model is all that I really need. So if someone they're new to ChatGPT, generative AI, they maybe heard about it at some conferences. How should they be thinking about it, and what would be some beginner steps that you'd recommend for them?
Ooh, good question. So I think the first thing is think of it as though it's an assistant, that's by your side, and
Love that.
a lot of comes from that. One is you need to give it a good briefing. You need to give it background. You need to give it clear instructions. Another thing that comes from that is you also need to iterate and refine, ask it to go again and give it feedback. And another thing that comes from it is you shouldn't take work that your assistant has produced and pretend that it's your own. No, you should really own it, edit it, refine it, enhance it. Then you can credibly believe it's yours and share it as though it's yours.
Great point. I'm just going to interrupt them right there. Is making sure that there is a not passing it along as your own.
Oh, 100%, right? As we were talking about earlier, first is there is now that it's becoming, let's use the word common, right? Chat GPT and the usage of, that particular AI technology is becoming more mainstream now, I guess, than it was this time last year. Some of the wording, emojis, as you were saying, or even the sentence correction, if you use it a lot as a user, as a writer, as a comment.
All right. So on the show today, we have Emmanuel Probst.
Oh my gosh, I
who's
don't
a
understand.
global lead of brand.
You're trying to cut me off. I have really deep thought, Crystal.
I'm sorry. I was trying to get to the beautiful slide.
No, I'm just totally kidding. I'm just
now I lost you.
it's a way to enhance and not a way to do your job. Oh, I just kind of looked at what the pie chart was saying. I'm a firm believer in technologies that help you be more efficient and help you be more operationally excellent. So Chat GPT is just one. It's new. It's scary. I get it. But man, we use AI tools literally every day.
Yeah.
My watch is listening. AI. Alexa's back there. If I say it too loud, she's going to come on. AI, right? Like these listening tools to help you be more efficient and accelerate. They will not take your job. They will just push us to think and work and perform differently.
And I think that that's what, David from our May episode said is like the output is only as good as your input, as the input. And if you want to learn more, we've got a little QR code over there in the corner for our AI booklet that is like 40 pages long. Like the team did not, we don't put out ebooks that are like, ooh, clickbait download for 3 pages. It's like a thing and it has like directions. Okay. So if you're looking on how to do prompts for market research, make sure you download that ebook. And then because I have Artie is, I want to keep her at a proper time. I'm going to slide ahead a couple of slides and mute this and find one more episode. And we're just one more piece of data that we had this year, which was all about Taylor Nation and talking about making research sexy and fun. And I don't think there's anyone who has watched Question Pro this last year and didn't know that we had probably one of the most economic accurate Taylor Swift surveys, I would say. We even got mentioned in her Time magazine on page like 8, like very early. Dan's even quoted. So shout out to Live with Dan being quoted in Time magazine. Artie, when you see the future of market research for consumers and helping support journalistic integrity, what do you see there for next year?
Wow, that's a heavy. I thought you were going to ask me something easy about Swiftie, man.
Sorry, it's like a trick.
I know that was tricky. All right. We live in a complicated world, especially when it comes to data integrity, storytelling, and journalistic ethical values. And I have huge respect for our global journalism industry and what they have to go through. I think it all comes back to reality and collection of good, qualitative data that you can now back your story into in order to tell the real open truth and storytelling out to the public. Taylor is a great example of that. We were able to use our data to go and not only say, hey, what is Taylor going to do starting in May, right? This was early on, and do some predictive analysis of what is her tour going to mean from an economical point of view, not only here in North America, but as she started to push out globally. And now that data and that story around data has expanded into other artists and overall entertainment and what the summer went and how people are spending their COVID saved money due to the pandemic and the reserves they had. And what is it doing this morning? Actually, NPR was doing a story this morning I was listening to on the Federal Reserve and what are they going to do about the interest rates. And guess who they mentioned?
Gina.
A girl right here in order to do data on what the economical behavior has been over the last 7.5 months in North America for them to make a decision on move up, move down, or keep reserves and interest rates the same. So it's, I guess to answer your question in a long way, I've always believed data is king. Good quality data is even is the queen of the king. And I got to put the queen in there. And I think that's what continuously help us partner with not only all these incredible media partners that we have, CNN, CNBC, Fox News, the Today Show, et cetera, Economist. It can go on. It's because the collection and the quality of data coming out of our platform is just incredible.
Well, I agree with you, especially as someone who is always trying to find that next piece of data that we can push in like a really interesting, sexy, and unique way. And I am so grateful that you were able to join us. Shout out to the producer of Live with Dan, Danielle. She put together this whole deck, and we're so grateful for everything she does. She's actually going to be publishing. There's even a longer version of this that we even cut down more. So we're going to be publishing the full Live with Dan recap without Artie and I's like fun commentary.
That's no fun. Who wants to watch that?
But we are so glad that you joined us today, Artie. And you guys catch us next year. We're going to be taking about a month off of Live with Dan, and we will be back with another season with even more exciting guests and hopefully some really exciting topics aside from Chat GPT.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Bye, guys.
Bye.